Popping up, having a little conversation, and this guy come from out of nowhere and was like, "Man, move." And I look at him, and he's talking to the guy like I'm talking to, and he's just like, "Man, move." And the guy looking like, "Huh?" And he look at me and look back at the guy, and the guy was,
Hey, if you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place, buddy.
Welcome back to Motivation Nation. It is your host, Al Gordon. We got another one. And I'm going to need your opinion, fellas, as far as what would you do in this particular situation? Because what she is about to describe is straight craziness and chaos. So let's hop right into it. Let me know what y'all think about this. Jump in the comments.
talk to that dude who just punked you. So I'm at Soul's last night, minding my business, having a good old time, and I get a call from this guy I met earlier, and he's like, "Hey, where are you?" I'm like, "At Soul's." He's like, "Cool, I'm about to come up there." I'm like, "Great." So I go downstairs and get me a glass of wine so I can wait for him. So if you know, like on the middle floor at Soul's, like if there's these little booths, and I think like anybody can sit there, like you can order your food and sit there, but it's kind of like a first come first serve thing, whatever. So it's like a little L-shaped booth situation. So I'm sitting there by myself. So then this guy comes over trying to talk to me. So we're having a little conversation, and it's like an L-shaped booth. So I'm sitting at the short part of the L. He's sitting at the long part, like in the corner, but he has his leg stretched across the long part of the L. So we just chopping up, having a little conversation, and this guy come from out of nowhere and was like, "Man, move." And I look at him, and he's talking to the guy like I'm talking to, and he's just like, "Man, move." And the guy looking like, "Huh?" And he look at me and look back at the guy, and the guy was like, "Fuck out the way, move so I can sit here." So then he like slowly just like raises his leg up and like scoots over. And then I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm like, "You know him?" He was like, "Man, no." And I was like, "Oh." And then like looking like, "Yeah, bitch. Like that's what the fuck I said, move."
All right. All right. Let's pause it. Jump down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this thus far, right? So, listen, I'm a firm believer in this, and again, I'm not, nobody, especially when you get to a certain age, is looking for confrontation, and nobody is trying to be a tough guy. But there does become a time when you do have to demand respect, and I'm a firm believer in people do certain things to people based on how they look. They do things to people that they think are weak just based on how they look. And that's absolutely the wrong way to go about picking confrontations. It's based on how someone looks, because a lot of times people do things and say things to people that because maybe they think that they're bigger than that person is small, that person may be skinny. So they'll just outwardly disrespect that person because they automatically feel as though they can beat that person up. But if anybody has ever been trained in the art of fighting, you do understand that just because someone is bigger than you, that does not mean a guarantee a victory. Now, in this particular scenario, but let's let her finish, and then we'll get down into uh, what I would have done in a situation like that, right? And then you guys let me know what you guys would have done. Let's let her finish.
And I'm like, "Wow." And I'm like, "Wow, you really let this random man punk you in front of a girl, like in front of a woman." And it's not like I wanted him to do anything. I didn't want him to get violent or anything like that. Of course not. But damn, like, what should he have done? Like, I thought you should have spoken for yourself. And then he tried to say under his breath, like, "Nah, you should have said that louder or something." Like, I don't know. That's so embarrassing. And then trying never to keep. They tried to kick it to me still. And I wasn't even going to really talk to him. I was just being nice because I'm waiting for my friend. So I'm just trying to be like cordial and like chop it up with you for a second. But I'm like, wow, like the fact that you're still going to try to talk to me, like, aren't you embarrassed? And it's funny because then the energy did change, and he tried to like, and he wasn't really like as friendly as before, and it's getting kind of quiet and awkward. Then he looked down on my phone and sees that my friend texted me and was like, "Oh, I'll be here in 13 minutes." And he like, "Oh, you waiting on somebody anyway? You about to see somebody anyway? You wait?" I'm like, don't try to take it out on me. Don't get mad at me because you got punked. Don't try to like you projecting your energy at the wrong person. Get mad at that dude. You had all this energy for me. And what I got going on, and I don't even know you. Talk to that dude who just punked you. So
Okay, so now let's get back into it. So first of all, I wouldn't have, not to say that he was wrong or right for this, but I wouldn't have not I wouldn't I would not have had my leg stretched out on the couch like that. That's first and foremost because I'm always considering vulnerabilities and things of that nature. So I wouldn't have done that. Now that doesn't give that guy the right to approach someone and say, "Hey man, move." Because he felt as though for whatever the reason that guy was weak and that he could speak to him like that. So if someone was to say something like that to me, now I would first of all probably ignore them, and then if they said it again, then I would have to look at them at that point, and then if they're standing over me at that point, I would have to get up, and I would have to ask him, who is he talking to, and why is he talking that way, and then from there I would have to assess if the person was a threat. And if they were a threat from that point, then hey, we got to do what we got to do. Because at that point, if I notice that he's a threat, then he could get one off before me, and then we're in a fight over absolutely nothing. So first and foremost, I try not to even put myself in situations where people who have that type of a mentality are going to be. Now, I get it. You can't always escape those situations, but I don't go to places where people with that attitude are located. Now, it sounds like this place might have been a bit upscale. I don't know. But I don't want to be around people who don't feel like they have something to lose. Because in that particular scenario, even as I'm saying what I'm saying, when you have something on the line and you have something to lose, it's certain levels of disrespect that you just have to let slide, because you getting into it and the police getting called, you getting arrested, you having court dates and all this, and you still have a job that you have to go to, you still have bills that are due. And then after your emotions settle down and you're asking yourself, I'm spending all this extra time, all this extra money, all these charges, this, that, and the third that I have to get out of, and I was in the right. But you have to then ask yourself, was it even much worth it? Or what could I have done differently? So what I try to do is pre-think that stuff before it actually happens, and I try not to be in scenarios at this age of mine now that would put me in a predicament where I'm forced to have to make a decision, or I'm forced to have to be physical with somebody. Now, when I was younger, hey man, you come talking crazy like that, I'm gonna check your temperature, and we're gonna find out if you are who you say you are. But back then I was doing something different. I was in a little bit more training. I had a lot more stuff going on where um chances are, he would have apologized after the fact. But I'm just saying, like, when you get older, you got more and more stuff to lose. It's like, man, is this even worth it? Because he said, move your leg, and I'm being disrespected, and then you're being disrespected in front of a stranger at that. So all of that plays a part. So it's like very interesting way to handle it. But I would have had to, in that particular scenario, we would have had to meet eyeball to eyeball, and I want to see if you're gonna continue with the same energy. But I wouldn't want anything to come to fisticuffs, because you got too much at stake this day and age. So I just pray I'm never in that particular predicament or that situation. That's why I'm careful about the places that I go. I try to be as careful as possible about the people that I'm around, because people are, especially now, man, people are looking for opportunities to go viral. People are out here just disrespecting strangers. People are out here pulling pranks on strangers, and they think that it's funny, and they think that it has no consequence. And then when consequences do come, they're not ready for those consequences, and then they want to play victim. And but you never know when or where someone could potentially try you, so you do have to make sure that you are prepared for all possible scenarios wherever you go. And that means if you have to have, you have to have weapons, you have to have mace, you have to have all kind of stuff to protect yourself, because you never know when somebody might try you. You can do all of the preventative stuff that you want, but there's some knucklehead out there who's ready to try somebody, and in some of these situations you can't avoid, and then you may just have to put them up. But anyway, fellas, let me know what you guys would have done. I told you what I would have done in this particular scenario. Let me know what you would have done. Hey, ladies, if that was you in her position, what would you have done? What would you have said something to the guy for being that disrespectful? I just want to hear from you guys. But hey, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Out.